Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I'm going to be covering this past week in VR news from May 6th up until May 12th. Starting right off, we have a major game release, and that is the Midnight Walk. This is a $40 game, so it's a double A experience you're getting here. And when this game was first announced, I always was a little worried it might fall under the veil of flat screen game with very cheaply made VR support, but that doesn't really look to be the case. I've seen great reviews from places like Upload VR and others, and it looks like a great game. I was also worried it might be a walking simulator, but it sounds like there's some puzzle elements, there's some horror elements. It seems very well made, very high production value, and very interesting as a whole. I mean, the graphics alone sell me on this game. I hadn't picked it up yet. The price is a little steep for me right now, but hopefully in the next week or two I'll pick it up. But there was a little controversy with this game, at least online. I saw it on subreddit, r/PSVR2 or whatever, and that is the resolution. And this is never something I like to hear, because for me, when you're immersed in a VR game with good VR resolution, the quality of the game seems to matter less the better the graphics are. And the graphics in this game look amazing, so if the resolution's bad, then that kind of taints the experience for me. But they're planning to come out with a patch very soon, according to the developers, and apparently there's some kind of tip you can do to remedy the low resolution as of right now, and that is to lower the brightness setting on PlayStation VR 2 to 60%. That seems to help. I'm not entirely sure. I'm probably just going to wait for the patch, because I would like to play this on PlayStation VR 2. For my money, it's the most immersive headset, so I'd like to play a game that looks to aim to be very immersive with that headset. And then we have Into the Radius 2. I'm a huge fan of Into the Radius. Let me just get that right out of the way. Into the Radius was one of the first VR games where I was just mind blown. Just genuinely mind blown, because it was so immersive. It really showed me, it introduced me to a whole different type of game genre that I've just never really experienced before. So I have a lot of history with Into the Radius from like 2019. But Into the Radius 2 I haven't yet checked out. My PC can't really run it, but it is actually coming to Quest 3 and Quest 3S later this month. That is May 21st. However, it is worth knowing that the Quest 3 version will not actually have feature parity between both versions, so you'll be missing out on some features, and that will be I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's the Pechorsk outskirts location, or the distortion zones, and also cross-platform multiplayer isn't supported yet. And again, there's no Quest 2 version. This is just Quest 3 and Quest 3S, but everything else is there. I'm a little disappointed by this. I would have liked if they had maybe waited, like they did with Into the Radius 1, for a more complete version that they could bring over to the Quest platform. But I mean, if you're really interested in playing Into the Radius 2, this might be, and you only have a Quest 3 and no PC, this might be the best way to do it. Personally, I don't like the whole early access thing. I'm going to be waiting longer. That was something with Into the Radius. I played it originally, and then I waited longer, and then I was glad I waited. And then in some saddening news, we have Minecraft VR is no longer officially supported. Now, take this with a grain of salt, because previously the Bedrock edition was the only one that you could play officially with PC VR and PlayStation VR. Now that's just unsupported. It's gone. But the Java edition with Vivecraft, which is the best version for my money to play VR Minecraft. It's actually, honestly, I think Vivecraft's a little underrated. If you can run Vivecraft with shaders, you can have like one of the best experiences ever, like in VR and in Minecraft, just at once. So I actually really recommend checking out Vivecraft if VR Minecraft interests you in any way, shape, or form. Really well supported, and just a really great version of the game in VR. And then we have some confusing news, because Meta continues their rebranding scheme, trying to, I don't know what they're doing. They got rid of Oculus, obviously, with Meta, and now it seems like they're trying to get rid of Quest for software, that is. Obviously, they're keeping the hardware line of Meta Quest, but like for software, before it was called Quest Plus. It was a subscription service where you'd pay $8 a month, and you could redeem 2 pre-selected games each month. However, now they're changing it to Horizon Plus. This is just such a small adjustment, so most people won't care about it. But I'm just against it, because it's just confusing. I mean, I think Meta's really trying. For some reason, they're still trying to do some half-baked metaverse concept with Horizon Worlds. Horizon Worlds is just a poor Roblox. It is a poor man's Roblox. There's very little redeeming to it. And what is redeeming it's not enough to actually warrant them going full steam in this. Okay, let me put it this way. With the money they spent on Horizon Worlds, they could have made like 10 Batman Arkham Shadows or Asgard Wrath 2. And that's the kind of games that get people to buy VR headsets. That's the kind of games that get people interested in VR, being like, hey man, I really wish I had a VR headset, not some Horizon Worlds. Obviously, if it was good, it would, but it's not. So Horizon Plus to me is just going down this rabbit hole of the half-baked metaverse, and I really do wish they would change directions. So that's just a personal thing I really take issue with. But, in some, I guess, better news, the next generation Meta smart glasses are set for 2026, and they could potentially even recognize faces with an always-on AI. People get scared when they hear always-on. I mean, I get a little hesitant, too. It's sort of like, I can't say it too loud, but Alexa. Don't want to wake her up right now. But yeah, I mean, she's always on. And this would be kind of, it seems to me like a similar situation, where there would be, the camera would always be activated, and it would be like it would be interpreting information constantly, and if there was certain information that it deemed valuable, based off your own preferences, I'm assuming, or the built-in biases, like for keys, for example. So if you're leaving the apartment and you have your glasses on and you see keys on your table, and then the AI is watching you leave the apartment, but it never watched you grab the keys, hypothetically it could be like, hey man, pick up your keys before you leave. That to me is an awesome, like, holy moly, we're in the future kind of feature. I want to see something like that. And then obviously with faces, it would be like, I'd be whispering to my Meta AI, hey, what's this guy's name? I completely forgot. And then it would be like, oh, that's blah blah blah's name, and I would just have to look at the person, and it would tell me whose name it is. And this is something that, I mean, this is a scary thing, but it's really like pushing AR in a very interesting direction, because it's not really a visual front right here. It's audio. It's an audio based interface, but mixing that with like the AI is just, it's a real useful thing. Like I think this could be a real game changer. It could be mainstream AR, the first real case of it. Then we have some Insomniac news, which is, I can't believe we're talking about them in VR, but it's a really short thing. Their full VR library has thankfully returned to the Rift store. This was a weird thing. I mean, I remember when the PSVR 2 was like, before it came out, they had like Unlisted, whatever, Unspoken or whatever, and a few other Insomniac games. And people were rumoring that it was because they were bringing them to PlayStation VR 2, now that they were owned by Sony. Never happened, obviously, or at least hasn't happened yet. And but so thankfully now all the games are back online. Apparently once a year, Meta requires you to do some data use checkup, and if the studio doesn't do that, the game will get delisted until it's sorted. And I guess Insomniac just does not care enough about these games to do the checkup, so that's just ridiculous. I don't really know what's up with that. Unspoken was the one that took longer than the rest. That one's up now though. Apparently everything is good, I guess, but that was just ridiculous. And then our last bit of news, I mean, Pimax is a company that's it's very strange in the VR space, because they're always trying to push things in every direction possible and all at once. And lately, they've been somewhat successful. I've heard good things about some of their headsets, but their latest is the Pimax Dream series, and this looks like a Vision Pro, basically complete clone. Basically a complete clone, with the Dream Air and Dream Air SE. And these headsets were actually delayed. They're going to ship now in August or early September, and this was announced 5 months ago. Apparently it was supposed to come out sooner than that. And so yeah, if you're expecting to get one, don't expect to get it sooner than quarter 3 2025. I'm a little confused on the market for this. I obviously don't want to speak too negatively of it because I haven't tried it, but it's just teach their own. Okay, so that's everything I found important, at least in the last week of VR news. But if I missed anything, obviously let me know. I'm not perfect at this. There's a lot of VR news and headlines per week. There's like 20 or something, and I can't go through all of them. I really just pick the ones that speak to me and that I think people would find most interesting. And also, this past week I've been playing Ghost Town by Fireproof Games. They're the same guys that made The Room VR Dark Matter. Really interesting start. I'm only about an hour into it, but check that one out if you haven't. I mean, let me know what you guys think if you already have checked it out. And also, If you have any suggestions, by the way, for this VR News Weekly thing, because I'm really going to be doing this consistently for the foreseeable future, and the thing is, it's not for me. This is the type of series where it's for people like me who want to stay in the loop about VR news, particularly with VR gaming. So if you have any suggestions, anything you'd like to see per week, this is for you. So just let me know and I will make the adjustments.